Service agnostic access to cloud file storage. In this demonstration, we'll show you how you can programmatically access files on cloud services via our components in the TMS VCL Cloud Pack and the TMS FMX Cloud Pack. We'll make all code to cloud file storage access cloud service agnostic. In this example, we will focus on uploading and downloading files programmatically from a Delphi application. In this demonstration, we'll use Google Drive and the Microsoft OneDrive. Our components also support other popular cloud storage services, such as Dropbox, HiDrive, Box.net, and Hubic. So let's switch to Delphi and put this demonstration application together. Here, you can see that we are in Delphi, and I've already prepared some initialization here. I have an Edit control, a button, and a list box with one of the first lessons you get as a Delphi developer, that is to add items to the list box. From this Edit control, I will simply use the data that I add to the list box to save it to a file and persist that file to a cloud file storage system. First of all, to access Google Drive, I will add the ADVG Drive component, which is a non-visual component from our VCL Cloud Pack. Then I add a reference in my form to the tCloud Storage class, which is an abstract class for accessing cloud file storages, and that I will be able to use for Google Drive and Microsoft OneDrive, but also for any of the other cloud file storage systems that we support in our cloud components. So what I'll do in the form initialization is assign the abstract class to the class or component that I will effectively use. And then the next step will be to initialize the unique key and secret code that I need for accessing my service. I save my unique key and code values in a small INC file with our unique values for key and secret that we obtained by registering for the Google Drive service. And so I can assign the key and secret code with these constant values saved in the INC file. The next step is to define where the cloud storage service will persist the access tokens that it obtained after one-time authentication and authorization. I will persist this in an INI file. I set the location to INI file and I will define a section in this INI file. Then I will use the class name of the storage service as a section name for the location in the INI file where I persist the access token. To make the connection to the cloud file storage service Google Drive, all I need to do is call the connect method of the cloud storage service. This connect method will first of all perform an authentication and authorization against the Google Drive file storage service, and as a result, it will trigger an event when it receives a successful connection. I will also assign an event handler when this connection is successful. I assign this to the cloud storage service onConnected event, like this. Then, when I'm connected here, we will load these settings from the INI file when I close the application. From the form's onCloseQuery event, we will save the settings of the values that are in our list box. I will add here two procedures, the load settings and save settings, like this. So for load settings, what I will do is download the file from a cloud file storage service and load the items of the list box from this file. In the Save settings, I will do the reverse. I will save the items from the list box and save the file to the cloud file service. So let's autocomplete this form. Then when we fill in the methods for load settings and save settings. To do that, let's first of all have a look at our cloud storage services. In this case, let's have a look at Google Drive. I created on my Google Drive a folder called App Settings, and this is the folder where we will persist a file with the settings of the list box. The first thing that I need to do in Load Settings is get a reference to the folder where I want to persist the settings. I do this by locating this folder from the file storage service. And locating is being done by calling the search list for the folder where I persist the file. And here I instruct the cloud storage to search it and search for the App Settings folder. When there is a successful return in this class, this collection with results is assigned, and the number of items is larger than 0. As I only have one folder with this name, I can now simply access the first item in the returned collection and retrieve the file from there. So now I search for the file in this folder. And let's call this File Settings INI, and let's search it in this folder. And this folder will be the first item in the returned collection of search results from my first search list call. I can use the same technique if this file is found. I can effectively download it from the cloud file storage service and load my list box with the information from this file. I can use the download method from the abstract cloud storage service component that I'm using. And I do it also from the first item retrieved from my search. And now I download the file to cloudsettings.ini. So this file will hold the items from my list box. And all I need to do is load these items from the file cloudsettings.ini. The next step that I will do then is implement the Save Settings call. And for the Save Settings call, I need to do exactly the same thing. I need to locate the folder where I want to persist the file. And when I have found this folder, what I can do is save the items from my list box items. Save to file is used for that. And I save these to the settings.ini, and then I can use the cloud storage component to perform the upload. In the first perimeter is the folder where I want to upload this file, and the second perimeter is the file name to use. As we will retrieve the items from settings.ini, I of course need to use the same file name to upload the data. I of course need to use the same file name to upload the data. So let's have a look at this code in action. I start the application, And the first thing that happens here is the authentication and authorization step for accessing my Google account. And so I use my credentials to access this account with my username and password. And now I have access, when I allow, to my cloud storage service on Google Drive. Now I can add some things to my list box via the code. Let's add some German car brands, the most popular ones. When I close the application, it will go through the Save Settings call, and it should have created and persisted these settings from my list box in my cloud storage. We can see now this folder is no longer empty. The settings.ini file is saved on Google Drive here in the App Settings folder when I go back to Delphi. Now, relaunch my application. We can see that nothing showed up. We did not get a new authentication and authorization screen because we reused the access token that was persisted from the first time access to the cloud storage service. And as you can see, my list box is now initialized with the items that were added. Let's now switch to Microsoft OneDrive. I have here my OneDrive folder open. And the only thing that I will need to do now is add the non-visual component ADV OneDrive on the form, which is the component for accessing the OneDrive storage service. To start using that storage service, the only change in my code that I will do is assign my abstract cloud storage service class to ADV OneDrive. And instead of initializing the app key and secret code with the Google app key and secret code, I assign it with the OneDrive app key and secret that are equally stored in my file here, this file, tmsappids.inc. So only this change should be sufficient to start using the OneDrive Cloud File Storage Service. When I start my application, the first thing that we get now is the Microsoft OneDrive authentication and authorization screen. So I have to do this authorization once here. And after this authorization is successful, you can see that my list box is now empty, which is obviously right because now I don't have any files in the App Settings folder for persisting the items from my list box. When I do the same thing here, and let's add some French car brands for this example, like this, and maybe also an Italian one. We have 3 items. Close the application, and when we go back to OneDrive, we see now that this file has been created and when I relaunch the application, we do not get a new authentication and authorization screen because it is using now the persisted access token from the Microsoft OneDrive. Now we see that our list box is initialized with the information from the items persisted on OneDrive. And I can simply switch back now by putting this in comment. This is the only code that is different between the Google Drive and OneDrive. And when I switch to this code, we can see that I'm now using the items that are persisted on the Google Drive. And that brings us to the conclusion of our demonstration, which explains how we can write agnostic code to any cloud file storage service that we support in the TMS VCL Cloud Pack and our FMX Cloud Pack. Information about these components can be found on this page, the TMS VCL Cloud Pack, and we also have these components for FireMonkey for desktop and mobile application development with FMX. This, along with numerous other popular cloud services that are supported out of the box in our FMX Cloud Pack and also our VCL Cloud Pack. Thank you.